What's up, YouTube fam? Merry Christmas. Welcome back to the channel. For this episode, I'm going to make it quick. I just wanted to give you guys a little Christmas gift in the spirit and talk about the truth about selling options that nobody wants to mention, right? There's a lot of fluff out there online and a lot of people covering the basic definitions and the basic principles of selling options. But let me give you guys the real truth, right? What no one else really wants to talk about and how to go about it the best way. So I wrote some mistakes that people make. So we'll talk about that first. So the first common mistake is selling covered calls first, right? I don't think anyone should go straight into covered calls. I think you should always go straight into cash secured puts. I'm going to make this a quick video, right? I don't want to go too into explanations because I talk about a lot of this stuff throughout the channel. So if you want to learn more, just watch all the videos, right? Or maybe not all of them, but try to get through as many as you can, because this whole YouTube channel has just been one big documentation series. The first episode is literally the first trade I've taken on November 6th, and since then have documented every single trade, right? So we started this challenge with 20,000, and as you see, the first trade played out by November 8th, and it hasn't been straight up, but we've gone basically up. Obviously, a very big retracement the last couple days, and now it looks like we're heading back up. Point being, I've covered all these things, so I don't want to go too into it. So first mistake, going straight into covered calls, right? A lot of guys, when they think of selling options, all they think about is covered calls. But truthfully, I think everyone should start with cash secured puts because it allows you to get a better entry and you don't have to buy the stock. You do need to have the money ready to buy the stock, but you don't need to buy the stock. So in the case of this position, which is the one I'm currently in, the stock was at 60 when I took it, and my strike at this point is currently at 50. Obviously, it's at 45. But I have all the way until January 17th to worry about that and deal with that. So the first thing, getting straight into covered calls. Second is doing poor man's covered calls. I don't even want to talk about it much. Selling options is a rich person game, right? It's a sport for people with money. So just the name poor man's covered calls contradicts what we're trying to do. Number three, picking the wrong stocks, right? If you are not picking something that is either consolidating or moving up, or better yet, if you are picking something that is in a clear bear trend, right, like this stock, even though we have this big red candle, it's also a 2x leverage, so it moves a lot more exaggerated. But the point is, I wouldn't consider this a bear trend, even despite these big moves, where if we go and we look at some of the stocks I have here, a great example being BABA, this is clearly a bear trend. I mean, it's been going down for 4 years now, right? So as much as, yeah, this does look like a great zone to buy, in terms of being an option seller, I'm not really interested in selling options until maybe we break this high, retrace, and continue, and I see a clear bull trend. So you shouldn't be trying to time the bottom. You should be strictly looking for things that are consolidating or moving in a bullish trend, specifically compared to, like if it's a crypto stock compared to Bitcoin, if it's a regular stock compared to the NASDAQ, which obviously, you know, if you pull up the BABA chart and the NASDAQ chart side by side, and you had been buying in BABA for the last 4 years, you're probably, you know, very depressed right now, all right? So selling options is no different. You don't want to be in something that's going down. Picking strikes too close to the money, again, especially if you're selling cash secured puts, you want to give yourself some breathing room. So try to keep your strikes, towards a low, right? People have asked me all about technical analysis, and I try not to get too deep into it. But if you want the simplest strategy, right, I'll show you guys this play I just took, right? So obviously you see where MSTX is. I took the $58 strike. Right, so I could have taken any of these and the premiums would pay a lot more. But, you know, when it comes to selling options, you're looking for that combination of making money while protecting money, right? Because if you were only in the game of making money, then selling options probably isn't for you, right? It would just be buying and holding on, you know, lower cap instruments or instruments that you think are going to shoot up. But if you're in this game like I am and you're interested in making and protecting, then you want to look to sell cash secured puts and put your strikes below relative lows, okay? The next mistake is becoming in love with a stock for obvious reasons, right? If you would have stuck to something like BABA for the last 4 years, you know, there's just so many stocks. There's infinite, right? Like when you talk about crypto, right? Everyone wants to talk about how crypto is always exploding. Oh, no, there's no better place to make life-changing money. The stock market is way better, right? Why? Because crypto, okay, there's multiple sectors of crypto, but it's all crypto, right? The stock market has every industry. It has crypto, it has AI, it has quantum computing, it has finance, it has banking, it has whatever you think of, right? Every industry you can think of is in the stock market. So there's always something emerging. There's always something blowing up. There's no need for you to be obsessed with one stock that's been in a 4-year bear trend, right? If you have a chance to get out, right? So with this Con-L play, even though for me, crypto is always the number one industry I've wanted to target with selling options, just because I knew the premiums would be good. And I love the volatility as a 27-year-old investor. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm willing to lose all my money to get rich, but I'm chasing volatility, right? If you're a little older and you have a bigger amount in capital, right? Like if you're a 55, 60-year-old guy and you have $1 million saved that you spent 30 years saving, maybe you shouldn't be chasing such volatility. But if you're someone like me who's trying to turn a smaller amount into a larger amount, this is the way to do it, right? So with Con-L, I rolled, and I do highly recommend rolling, right? So sometimes, you might get trapped in a position for months, but ideally you should never be trapped in a position for 4 years. You can always find a way out and, save what you can and move on to the next. The last mistake is selling covered calls below their entry. So for instance, right, let's just say I get assigned on this $50, but it's all the way down to 30. Now at that point, obviously I would roll, but let's just say I don't roll, right? And I do get assigned. If you're going to sell covered calls with a 35 strike, it just doesn't make sense, right? Because you're still taking a loss. You bought at 50 and now you sold at 35. So at that point, if you did get assigned, and this is why I like to roll, because I want to keep rolling and getting lower so that when I finally do get assigned, I could sell covered calls sooner, or at least have a great entry near the lows. But the point is if you did get assigned and then you sell covered calls immediately and you're nowhere near your entry, you're just going to be inflicting a huge loss, and it makes no sense. So these common mistakes should cover a lot of the truths that no one wants to talk about, right? Like, again, people make it seem like, oh, you're just collecting free money. There are a lot of ways to lose money, right? Ultimately, as long as you do it safely, right? Which even safe is a strong word, right? Because a lot of people would say, oh, selling options on a 2x leverage index is not safe. And listen, you're right in ways, but there's a lot of other worse ways to do it. There's a lot of there's just a lot of ways to make mistakes regardless of which stock you pick. Now, I will say picking the wrong stock is probably the single most important, picking the right stock is the single most important aspect. But again, there's a lot of factors that involve being a successful option seller. I think ultimately, as long as you're picking something that's trending bullish, right? As long as you're picking something that ultimately isn't crashing, that isn't going to go bankrupt, you should do well. But on top of that, stick to all the tips I just gave, and you shouldn't be making any mistakes. Listen, at the end of the day, no one's perfect, right? You're not going to time the top. You're not going to time the bottom. You're not going to be, if anyone knew how to do it, they'd be billionaires. And the billionaires still don't know how to do it. They just know how to do other things. And that's why I stuck to selling options, because for me as a trader, I would always lose money trying to short. Like, if you would have rode puts here, you would have done great, right? But think about this whole... All right, ready? This started on November 8th, and it didn't dump until December 18th. So for a whole month, if you would have been selling puts, there were scalps you could have caught, but let's be real, right? How many people are that quick, that efficient? And let's not forget the fills, right? The spreads, the volume. So as a regular trader, trying to time the market, trying to time the top, trying to time the bottom, trying to catch the breakout, to me, those are all losing formulas. What's a winning formula? It's something like selling options where, if you're selling a put and it goes up, you're going to make money. If it stays the same, you're going to make money. If it goes down, you can roll. If it goes down slowly and stays above your strike, you're going to make money. If it goes below your strike and retraces, you're going to make money. So there's so many ways to make money. The only way you can really lose is by making some of the mistakes I covered, like, getting assigned well below your strike and then selling covered calls immediately. But if you do the stuff I'm teaching, like you roll, and then you get a great entry, and then you hold it, then you watch it go up, then you sell covered calls to take profit. That's how you can actually get very wealthy selling options. That's how you can actually beat the market. People have to say, oh, no one can beat the market. Let's be real, guys. People beat the market very easily these days. You could buy Bitcoin and beat the market, right? I know guys who bought meme coins and put $1,000 in and turned it into 200K in 2 weeks. They destroyed the market. Yeah, maybe they won't consistently be able to do that, but all you need is one of those plays. And then you do something like selling options where you make 5, 10, 15% a month off 200K, and you're making more money than your job would have paid you, right? So don't fall into those fallacies of beating the market's impossible. It's the stupid people that don't know what they're doing, that, there's the statistics, 99% of traders lose, and I agree with that, but also most of them quit. Most of them don't know what they're doing. Most of them don't have a strategy. A strategy like this, which some would argue isn't even trading, I would say selling options is still trading, but some would argue that this isn't even trading. I would say this is more like loaning, right? This is more like being the house. This is more like being the mortgage broker for someone who wanted to buy real estate, being the casino if someone wanted to gamble, right? Like you're loaning money to the real degenerates who want to then take that money and buy options, right? So ultimately, you're playing a game that there's a lot of ways to win, and you should be successful, especially as long as you avoid the mistakes that I've discussed on this video. So I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it. Make sure to comment your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe for more info. And if you want to learn more from me directly, ask me questions, make sure to join the free community. We have tons of people in there, a lot of great stuff. If you want to just not only connect with me, but just connect with the community, there's going to be lots of updates as well. I also give my plays right away. So if you want, immediate signals, I'm giving as much as I possibly can give for something that is costing $0, absolutely free. So if you want to get involved, check out the link below this video. Otherwise, make sure to comment your thoughts, make sure to subscribe. And if you don't want to do any of that, don't, right? No one's holding a gun to your head. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a great holiday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next video.